if you don't like something or someone, leave that thing, leave that subject, leave that object behind. It's that simple. Because there's two ways in which you can respond to an unpleasant acquaintance, an unpleasant relationship, intimate as it may be or superficial as it may be, or a certain circumstance or situation or an event or an environment. There's really two basic ways to respond. You could let it go, just let it go, just drop it, just like that, cold turkey. Or you can complain. That's really basically the two responsive mechanisms in any particular situation. So, for instance, if you're not happy with living in an extremely cold environment, such as yours truly, I really have two basic responses, and I've exhausted both. Okay, well, I've exhausted one and I've decided to opt out for another. The first response was to complain. It's in the middle of winter, it's minus 25 Celsius, we haven't seen the sun in 12 days, and snow has been piled up for 4 straight months. It's desperate, folks. And what I would do in that situation, as the majority of people would do, is complain. Complain about how it's too cold, complain about how it's too much snow, complain. Just creates more of the same resentment. It just reinforces the resentment, reinforces the frustration. Then I've exhausted that option for many years, and I've decided, well, perhaps it's time to let it go. Perhaps it's time to opt out of this situation instead of complaining about it. Because clearly all this complaining is simply reinforcing my misery, my frustration with what is. It is what it is. That's what is. That's the situation. I mean, look, if nobody has a gun to your head saying you gotta live here, yeah, it's pretty cold, and here you are. I mean, nobody's got a gun to your head saying you've gotta live here. And upon that realization, I said, well, it's time to let it go. And I've made the mental decision that I'm going to move somewhere else without ever knowing how I'm going to make a living or this or that. But eventually it all works out. Okay, it all works out. And so currently I've got less than 2 months of leaving. And I already start to have dreams about coconuts and beaches and tropical paradise. I swear, like last night. Anyway, that's for a different topic. So I don't want to go on that rant. We'll save it for when I'm actually there, so you can see for yourself, and I can see for myself as well. So now it took me a long time to finally stop complaining and simply let it go. Now, the manner in which you let something go is very critical, and it's going to determine if you're going to create karma or if not. Okay, so if you leave something with resentment, you're more than likely creating karma, and somehow that karma has to be played out in one way or another. So let's take it a little bit further, because I some of you, specifically one person watching this, I know you watch all my videos, so you're gonna watch this and you're gonna get something out of it. You're having problems with your parents. Okay, you're having problems with your parents. They're giving you a hard time. They're making you feel guilty about not being around them, not supporting them, not helping them, not being closer to them, not spending more time with them. All that stuff that parents deliberately use to make their kids feel guilty, because the parents have a void that they're escaping, and they feel lack of love, and they feel like they're in victim mentality. So they figure, well, let me let me have my kids close to me. Parents do this all the time, and they abuse the parent card. So listen carefully, because this parent card has been played out for far too long. Even in the religions, it's been way too much played out. It's just been way too played out, and it's a form of keeping the hierarchy, the control hierarchy, which, in this last 2,000 years, it's like your parents are the government. It's a small government hierarchy within a hierarchy within a hierarchy. Okay? And so listen carefully, because this parent card has been just played out for far too long. Now, you have two options here. One option is to complain about how your parents are not understanding where you are, and how they're singling you out and calling you black sheep. So I use that term so the person who spoke to me about this, now, because you used this specific term, and how they're making you feel bad about not spending time with them, etc. You could complain, like you already did. I'm just making this an observation. Like, it's you can complain, and that's fine. You vent out, but that just reinforces the misery and the frustration. And what I would like all of you guys, and what I do more and more of in my life, is to become a solution-based individual. Okay, a solution-based individual. Always look for solutions instead of complaining. Don't ever open your mouth and complain unless you already have a solution. If you have a solution, you have all the right to complain, because you say, well, look how terrible this is. Look, you guys are not doing this right. You're all stupid. Look, here's the solution that's gonna, transform you radically. And then people will see the solution and be like, okay, I guess you are a little firm there. You this and that, but you got a solution. You got a solution. So never open your mouth, never complain about a situation. This is a good rule to follow, unless you already have a solution. So when you see a problem, automatically train your mind to think of a solution. Okay? So the solution in this case, and it's a very difficult one, but it's quite liberating. There's liberation and freedom on the other side. Is to simply drop your parents. And I'm not saying drop them as in cut them off, never speak to them, and because the manner in which you let go of something is going to determine if you create karma, if that karma has to play itself out, if there's resentment, if the situation has been left off with a certain a bitter taste. That's going to determine. So you want to drop something, let go of something with full appreciation of what is, of the situation, with full understanding and with acceptance that this is the way it is. Because then when you retreat, when you let go, it's a tactical retreat, if you will, you're not leaving behind any nastiness. You simply just let go of it. Gracefully let go of the situation. So if your parents are giving you all this hard time, I know for this specific person, you could just leave. You're independent, and you've done that before. And it's not like when you leave there's any bad vibes in there. You know that. It's you don't want to leave off anything with resentment. The last thing I want to do here is to leave off like the experience of being in this particular land for 15 years with any resentment. Then that would be ridiculous, and I would somehow be creating karma, and one way or another it would have to be paid off. I might have to find myself in another birth in the same situation again, because I resented it. It's creating a samskara, an impression deep down. Okay, and so if you leave with a resentful thought with another person, a resentful vibe in you, you're more than likely to somehow exchange that energy with that person, with your mom, with your dad, with your sister, with whatever, again at some point in this lifetime or the next, or another one altogether. You're more likely. But if you let go of it with grace, with understanding, with saying, I accept my parents for the way they are. That's the first step of letting go gracefully. Okay? You accept it. You say, well, okay, they're the way they are right now. They're judging me like this, they're singling me out, they're giving me a hard time. I accept them. They're in this way, and I accept that I can't change them, because there's also this desire in you to change them. That results from complaining, because complaining reinforces that something's somehow not perfect, and you, deep down, you want to change your parents, but you can't change anybody. And that's something you have to really integrate in your psyche, that you cannot change anyone, that everyone is on their own journey, on their own path. And I had a thought just now in the meditation session that God created the separation, the game, the amusement park, the dream state, because God in a way wants to feel a certain sense of individuality. And so one of the first rules of creation and playing within creation is every soul has total self-determination of its path. And so your parents have the exact same privilege as you, and that's their particular path right now. They're judgmental, they're needy, they're trying to use their social bond as parents to somehow gain something out of you. Accept it. It is what it is. That's the way they are. That's where they are in their particular journey, and that's where they are in their evolution at the moment. And you just say, I accept. And from that place of acceptance, you can now begin to let go. So you in your particular situation, you could just leave. You would just leave, right? And you could just leave. You're independent, and even if you're not, and if you feel like your parents are giving you a big hard time, again, yes, they brought you up, yes, they given you all this, but the thing is, you have to understand that they're also on their own journey, the evolution of soul. And if they raised you and somehow they feel like you owe them something, that's not pure. That's not a pure act at all. Because you shouldn't raise someone and bring them into the world with any feeling like they owe you something. But I guess if that's how your parents are, you accept them as they are. You see that they're they're impure in that way. You see that, and you say, well, I accept them. I accept the situation. And then you drop it. No complaining whatsoever. Solution, drop it. Move out of your parents' house. If somebody's watching this and you're young and I don't have a job, blah, blah, blah. Well, I bring Gail here on the podcast frequently. He's 19 and he works, and, he's having a business and he's doing all kinds of things. Okay, no excuse there. No excuse. So you simply drop it. Anything. If you don't like something, don't complain about it. Don't complain. Just drop it. Gracefully drop it. Accept it and gracefully drop it. You're not obligated. You're not obligated for anything, really, for anyone. You're not held accountable for you're not obligated. You absolutely have zero obligations. And if you're going to do something, if you're going to somehow take care of your parents and stay with them, you should do it because you want to do it. Not because you feel obligated because they're my parents. Anytime you do something out of an obligation, that's a state of fear, a state of need, a state of contraction, not expansion. Okay? And so you should honor also where you are in the journey. And if you feel like right now I gotta drop this, you drop it. And that's the simplest. That's the path of least resistance. It is the path of least resistance, right? It is the path of least resistance for me to simply leave this place that I'm in because I've had enough of the cold, than to complain about it. That's the path. That's the path of least resistance. Now, in the same way, you could open your mind, you can open your eyes and be like, damn, the world's fucked up. And then you could end up being like a mad conspiracy theorist who thinks or who basically paints this picture like the world is bleak, which is true. That's what's funny about it. It's true. It is true. The world is bleak. We're just ascending out of the Kali Yuga, and it takes time to go to the next level from the Iron Age to the Bronze Age. So it's true. What that mad conspiracy theorist is reporting is unfortunately the truth, which is the world is bleak, it's fucked up, it's full of paranoia, we've been lied to in every sense and every way, we've been poisoned in our water, in our food, in our vaccinations, and all of it. That is all very true. Okay? Now, you could point it out, be aware of it, accept that, okay, and here's what happens when you accept it. You accept, okay, well, man, like there's some people that are evil, that are in control, and man, they're really reaping some bad karma. Now, by accepting, you say, well, I accept, and then you realize that actually, since no action goes unpunished or punished or anything, it's just karma, it just rewards and punishes based on the action. You realize that, they're poisoning the water. Look how many people are being poisoned in the chemicals in the water. You know how much karma they're collecting? How much negative karma? So then by accepting, you say, well, I guess the eternal way, the Sanatana Dharma means the eternal way, the Tao, with all these universal laws, it'll punish them. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. It'll punish them. It'll punish them. Sure, they may seem like they're winning right now and they're poisoning everyone and it's terrible, but you know what? It'll punish them. The eternal law will punish them. The Tao, the universal laws, the law, the unfailing law of karma will do its thing. So that's A, you accept it. B, you say, well, hold on a second here. In many ways, I chose to come here because I want to experience a certain way. That's what happens when you accept something, by the way. You start to realize, hold on, now I chose to be here. Oh, hold on, I did choose to be here because I recognize how fucked up the world is and I came here to uplift the vibration. And with that recognition, you realize that it's perfect, that actually you came here very damn well knowing that the world is fucked up. And you chose to come here to uplift the vibration. Okay, let's take it a step further here. See how when you start to let go of something, you drop it. See what happens now. Let's take it a little bit further. You say, well, hold on, okay, I chose to be here, but hold on, if I chose to be here and do this thing and play this role, it means I can choose not to be here neither. And then you start to realize that, holy shit, if I don't like this plane of existence, this vibration, I don't have to open my mouth. I can just go and either drop my body and go to whatever, any other part of the astral plane or causal plane or mental planes or whatever. And that's it. And then you could start to think about, okay, preparing for leaving your body, aka death, right? Etc., etc., which I talked about in a previous video. Because I realized also that I chose to be here. So I can't complain about anything because I came here very damn well knowing that the world is a dark mess and I came here to play on Team Light and spread the light and sort of uplift the vibration. So why am I complaining about? Nothing to be complaining about here. I came here very damn well knowing. So I better damn drop my complaining and my resentment about the world. You see? And then with that, I can now begin to uplift. I can begin to spread awareness. I can begin to educate also about how fucked up the world is. But without that resentment, without that sort of, complaining, if you will. Because now it's solution based. Because now I'm even looking for solutions within the problems. Because every problem has a solution because it's the duality and everything, all the polar creates the polar opposite. So a problem by its default creates a solution. So, okay. And you go even further and you say, well, I don't even have to be here in the vibration. And honestly, that's what I realized. Because overall, I'm damn well happy in this lifetime. I'm here. I'm going to get up every morning. I make these videos. I do what I have to do because I came here to play that role. But I also realized that overall, in the greater picture, as pleasant as everything is, and I do have a pleasant life, God bless, I don't like this realm all that much. I'm not all too enthusiastic about it anymore. So then I decided that I'm not coming back here on my next life. I've just decided it. I talked about it in the previous video, right? About how I sort of began to, mentally, in every way prepare for leaving my body. And that's it. I'll go play in other parts of the amusement park. I'll see what other games are there to play because I'm just not as enthusiastic about this game anymore. And the feeling of getting a new game and being really excited about it, and at some point it's sitting there collecting dust. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So you drop it. Don't complain. Don't complain. Drop it cold turkey. But before you do that, accept it. See it for what it is and gracefully drop it. Don't just like drop it with resentment. Don't get the wrong idea here. Because if you say, well, parents, screw you, you really have brought me up in a way that really screwed me up, and I am you just sort of resentment. Yeah, that's not over yet. You're gonna have to play out that karma with them. But if you let it go of it gracefully, you're not obligated for anything. There's no karma there for you. Just drop it. There's no karma. That's something that's a lie we've been told. It's really been milked, by the way, because the way of the society has been masculine dominant in the last 2,000 years. This is the characteristic of the Kali Yuga, by the way, the Age of Darkness. It's the masculine values that are dominant, and they're usually aggressive and hierarchical and all about control. And one of those institutions of control is the parent-child situation, the parent-child institution, and it's really been milked. And you see this like in, for example, Islam, like anything but your parents. You must always obey your parents. That's old school. Again, you have to understand where these things are coming from. They're coming from a place where it was all about hierarchies and institutions and control. Everything was about control. Where now we're moving more into a feminine age, an age of spontaneity, an age of freedom and liberation. Okay? So understand that. And so, don't let that get in the way of dropping something. If you drop something gracefully with full acceptance and appreciation, you got no karma there. It's finished. It's only when you carry a residue with you. That's the negativity. You understand? You're not really responsible for the other person's thought patterns or actions or perception. If they're not forgiving you, or if they're like, oh, screw you, why did you leave? Well, again, if you've left with appreciation, with kindness, and you just left with that, it doesn't matter what they think. There's no karma for you there. Because the karma is when you leave the residue inside of you. You create an impression, a samskara. And if you drop something with resentment, that samskara gets imprinted there. Somehow it's going to have to play itself out. So don't be afraid to drop something, folks. If something doesn't serve you, drop it. Don't feel guilty about it. Don't feel like, is this bad karma? Am I going to have to reincarnate again to do this all over? No. You'll only have to do it if you leave an samskara, an impression in there. Okay, but again, I can't emphasize it enough. It's very important to first accept the situation and appreciate it. By accepting, you appreciate. You'll find something to appreciate out of it. Whatever, you'll find something even about the place that you're leaving. Like, I could find lots of things here and appreciate my experience here for the last 15 years. I could really do that. I could really look and I could appreciate, the full spectrum of the experience. Okay, I could fully appreciate it. I could fully appreciate the contrast it provided me. I could fully appreciate the friends I made here. I could fully appreciate the whole experience. And I'm coming to that as I near my move. Every day I'm finding something to appreciate about the experience, but I'm damn well ready to let it go. It's not like, oh my God, I miss this, or I get nostalgia. It's more like an appreciation. I've been having all these flashbacks lately about like some of the mushroom trips that I had, some of the fantastic times that I had with some friends, and I have perfect appreciation and perfect acceptance and all of that of the situation, but I'm already letting it go also. Like, at the same time, it's done. It's not like I'm feeling nostalgic. Oh my God, same thing. So by accepting something, you begin to appreciate it. So you'll find some things to appreciate about your parents. There's certain things they've done for you, and but you're still dropping it. So just because you're dropping something or someone or leaving it does not mean you don't appreciate it, you don't accept it. It just means you understand that it's time to move. It's time to go somewhere else. Okay? So yeah, I honestly, this is something I've been doing in my life now for quite some time, is if something doesn't serve me anymore, I just drop it gracefully. And it serves me really well. It really serves me really well. It keeps me aligned. As long as I'm feeling in a place of alignment, then all this nonsense of guilt trips and all that, that's Mara, that's the devil, that's the devil right there. That's the devil. That's what you gotta, if you calm your mind, you realize that was just all like an imprinted program in you to make you feel guilty. Okay. So yeah, that's about it. And I want to thank all the lovely Patreons for their support. And I really do feel overwhelmed by the support. You know, there's quite a bit of people on Patreon now supporting, and yeah, I'm very glad. I'm very appreciative. So thank you very much. And if you would like to pledge your support, you could do so. You could buy me a cup of mushroom tea so I could keep making these rants and keep myself in an elevated state of consciousness. Meditation does that mostly, really. If you meditate, your state of consciousness will be elevated. And but if you want to buy me a cup of mushroom tea, you could do so. Just a couple of bucks a month. The link for it is in the description. And I love you guys. Until next time, may the force be with you.